Hello everybody, welcome to my second C# walkthrough of how to make a basic game. In this episode I want to make the rectangles across the form. We won't really get any movement in them for the time being, but I want to make this the class and I want to get the methods ready to go. So we're going to make that class and call it the obstacle class. We're going to need to add a library. We're going to be doing a lot of drawing using system.drawing. And the first thing I want to do is make a list of obstacles. Call it all. So when we make all the obstacles at the beginning of the when the form loads, I'm gonna put them all into this list so we can access them later easily. So I'm just gonna make a constructor here. I'm not gonna put anything in it for the time being. First, we want to make some variables. So we're going to need a solid brush color. We're going to need a rectangle. We're going to need some x, y, width, height values. And finally, I think, yeah, that should be all for the time being. Probably have to add something in a minute. Okay, so this constructor, when we make an obstacle, we're going to want to assign all of these variables. Although, if you think about it logically, the rectangles are all going to have different x values because they're all going along the form. So we're going to have to pass the x value through here when we assign it. And the y value is going to be constant. We can start them all on 0, well, 11. Which means it'll start at the top of the border, the top of the boundary, all of them. But because of different heights, when they move up and down, they'll juggle up a little bit anyway. So the width is also going to be constant for every rectangle. We could make a variable width, but I think it'll just be easier for the time being if they all have the same width. And the height, I think we could have a random height in a limit. So I'm going to pass a random through here, which we'll use to assign the height. So if we just go ahead and go height equals random next, give it a height, the boundary is 100, so let's say something like 30 to 70, 40 to 70. Okay, then we're going to want to go this dot x equals x, and we're going to want to go y equals 11 for all of them, so all of them will start at the top of the boundary. And let's also assign the width here. Let's give them all the same width for now, so say 10. 10 is good. And then finally we're also going to want to set the color. I like red for this. I think red will be good. And then we'll make the rectangle. X, Y. There we go. So we've set it up, the constructor, and we've assigned the variable. So as soon as we make the obstacle, it's going to all be ready to go. Now I'm just going to go ahead and make a few methods which we'll be using later on. The first one is move up, and secondly, if you haven't guessed it, it's going to be move down, because these rectangles are only going to move in up and down. So I'm going to make a method for that. We're also going to need a method to draw the rectangles, so public void draw obstacle. We're going to want to pass a graphics through here, which we'll be painting on. And finally, I want to make a bool is at bottom, but now I'll just return false. And also is at top. Okay, so the basic logic is when the timer ticks, we're going to repaint the obstacle, so we'll be calling this method here. And then we're going to need booleans, however you say it, to determine whether the obstacle is moving up or down. So to begin with, they're going to be moving down. So we're going to draw the obstacle every time it ticks, and if the obstacle is moving up, so if up is true, we're going to call this method, and if it's moving down, we're going to call this method. Although eventually the obstacle is going to hit the bottom or the top of the boundary, so that is where these come into play, in which case we'll switch from up to down or from down to up. So first thing I want to do here is just paint the rectangle on the form. G.fill rectangle. We'll use our color and we'll use our rectangle. So that's simple enough. So now I will do move up and move down. In fact, I think we'll leave move up and we'll leave move down for a further tutorial for the next one. We'll go through how to move them. So for the time being, we just want to paint them to the form. So when the form loads, which is form1. We don't have it yet, so I just double press this. When the form loads, we're going to want to assign, we're going to want to create all of the obstacles. So I'm going to put them in the list as well. So obstacle.all, which is the list we made, .add, and we're going to want to make new obstacles. However, we're going to make more than one. So instead of writing loads of these, I'm going to slap it in a for loop. Let's say it starts at about 3. The length is 600, so say we go up to about 58. Because I'm going to times this by 10, you'll see in a minute. So for that length, we're going to go obstacle.all.add new obstacle, and then the x value is going to be I times 10, and we're going to want to random. So I'm just going to make a random here, and we'll pass the random in there. Okay, so I think right now we've added all the obstacles and created new obstacles. So now we're going to have to paint them every time the paint is called. So I'm going to add for each obstacle in obstacle.all obstacle ob. We're gonna want to go obstacle.draw obstacle. So I think, that takes an argument. What is the argument? Oh, the graphics, speed.graphics. There we go. Okay. So that is pretty much it. Hopefully we have now created loads of rectangles, which we will see. Yes, however, as you may have noticed, there is no space between them. So to fix that, we can do a little cheeky if I has no remainder. So this basically means if it's going to be even or odd. I can't be bothered working out which one. So there's going to be a gap between every one, like that. So yeah, I think that's looking good so far. Obviously, when these are moving, they're not all going to be in line. They're going to shuffle about. So yeah, the next walkthrough, I think I'm going to go through the movement, which will be inside all of these methods here, and hopefully we'll get them moving. So thanks and keep watching.